We just got a whole bunch of new information about Super Mario Bros. Wonder thanks to the August 31st, 2023 Mario Wonder Direct. I gotta say, that presentation was insane. We got to see all sorts of things, from the story to all the different worlds to all the characters and even badges, which I don't think anyone saw coming to the game. With this video, I'm going to kind of follow a more loose approach to the commentary where I have a little bit of a list of what I'm going to talk about. So I just want to apologize in advance if I do go on any rants, but with that being said, I'm the biggest nub on YouTube, Christendo, and this is everything we know about Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The first thing we're going to knock out of the way is the story, because just like every other Mario game, there is not really much of a story to this game. It looks like that Mario and friends are invited to the Flower Kingdom by the Prince of the Land, Prince Florian. The Flower Kingdom is a land just beyond the Mushroom Kingdom, so it's, I guess you could say it's like a neighbor to the Mushroom Kingdom in a way. Of course, once again, Bowser is the villain of the game, just like every other 2D Mario game, and by touching the Wonder Flower, he merges with Prince Florian's castle and spreads chaos across the kingdom. I just want to make it very clear. Bowser becomes a freaking castle. Why is no one talking about this? Like, this is insane. This is something we haven't seen in any Mario game yet, so I am so down for this. Of course, after Bowser becomes a freaking castle, Prince Florian decides to join Mario and friends, and they go on their adventure to stop Bowser. Just like I mentioned before, this game takes place in the Flower Kingdom, and it's made up of 6 worlds surrounding the Petal Isles, making there be a total of 7 areas to explore. From what we know, there is Pipe Rock Plateau, which is World 1, Fluff Puff Peaks, which is World 2, Shining Falls, which is World 3, and then the next couple, we don't know for sure how they're ordered, so this is kind of just my list for them. We have the Unnamed Desert World for World 4, the Unnamed Forest World for World 5, the Unnamed Lava World for World 6, Petal Isles, which is the center of the world, as a possible World 7, but every Mario game has an 8th world, so I think Bowser himself will be the possible final world, where we go through the castle and do levels, do puzzles, and unmerge Bowser from the castle. I just think that would be an interesting idea for the final world. It looks like that if there's open areas on the world map, you're able to walk around freely, and new to the 2D Mario series, you can play any levels in any order that you want. And once you beat a level, you can quickly replay it by selecting it in the course menu. I think this is a great change because it makes it so that you can replay levels that you really enjoyed a lot faster instead of having to go to the world map, go select the world it's in, and then walk around the world map to get to that level. I just think that's a nice change. Props to Nintendo for that. And then it seems like at the end of each world, you get some sort of like Wonder Fruit that seems to weaken Bowser a bit for each of that you collect. Because in the trailer, we kind of saw like a little glimpse of like a Wonder Fruit, and then we saw that like one of the piranha plant thingies that were on Bowser, like those like started like fading away or something. It was something like that. I don't remember for sure, but it's pretty similar to that. Now we're gonna move on to characters. There are a total of 12 characters that we can play in the game. There's Mario, Luigi, Peach and Daisy. There's Yellow Toad, of course, with Blue Toad and Toadette. And then we got all the Yoshis with Yoshi, Yellow Yoshi, Red Yoshi, White Blue Yoshi, and the surprise character that I don't think many people saw was going to come, Nabbit. It looks like, unfortunately, all the characters will play the same except for Nabbit and the Yoshis. But when it comes to Nabbit and the Yoshis, they won't take damage, but they can still die by falling off the level, and these characters cannot use the power-ups. When it comes to Yoshi specifically, he still has his flutter jump, and he can eat objects, spitting them back at enemies, and Yoshis can be ridden by other characters, including other Yoshis and Elephant Mario, which is kind of insane. Like, Yoshi riding Yoshi, I don't think we'd ever see this day come. When it comes to new enemies, we didn't hear about a bunch of them, but here are a couple that we kind of heard about in the direct. First things first, we got the Hobby Cats, which kind of act like the one mouse enemy in Super Mario 3D World, where it jumps when you jump and kind of copies your movement. There's melon piranha plants, which spit seeds from their mouths that you could jump on. There's the condarts, which fly at you and stick their beaks to the main ground they land into, and they can break brick blocks when flying. There's the conks, which can plow through goo. That's basically the only information we got about them, but based on their behavior, it looks like that they kind of act similar to thwomps, so we got a new thwomp type, it looks like. We got mumsies, which we also didn't get much information about, that can be unraveled if you position yourself correctly. And then last but not least, we got mamas, which eat anything to get close to their mouth. Of course, we got classic enemies like Goombas, Koopa Troopas, Lokitos, and Spikes coming back, but we already know what these guys act like. They act similar as they do in every other game, so I'm not going to really cover them, but I think it's nice that we kind of get a nice bit of variety with the enemies that we get in this game, because I just think 2D Mario especially has been lacking creative enemies in a while, so it's kind of a nice breath of fresh air when it comes to seeing these new enemies even though we don't really know much about them yet. Now with this game, we were given 3 new power-ups. We got the elephant fruit, the bubble flower, and the drill mushroom. Starting with the elephant fruit, you can swing your trunk to attack enemies, break blocks, and return projectiles to enemies. It also seems like that you'll be able to dash through large gaps when in this form, so you don't have to worry about like jumping by like 2x2 gaps or whatever, like 2 wide gaps. And you can store water in the trunks for later use. I think this could also lead to some like cool puzzles in the wonder modes, so I think this is like a pretty cool power-up. And all the characters besides Snabbit and the Yoshis could turn into an elephant. If that means Elephant Peach and Elephant Daisy are a thing, I don't like that, but it is what it is. It's the most cursed thing I've seen since Meowser. Moving on to the bubble flower, this allows you to blow floating bubbles. Bubbles are used to capture enemies and defeat enemies, and they drift towards nearby enemies, so they kind of like home in on enemies around you. So that's kind of a cool mechanic that they have. And on top of that, you can also use them as platforms, so you can get onto like up high places, which I think is also pretty cool. Finally, we got the drill mushroom, and it gives you a drill that prevents spiky and hardhead enemies from being able to damage you from dropping onto you. It's like the Shelmet from the Mario Maker series. It's kind of like that in a way, where like enemies can't drop down onto you to damage you. So I think that's kind of a cool feature already. This one can be used to drill down into areas with breakable blocks. So like brick blocks or like those little crystal blocks that we saw in the trailer. You can like break into those by ground pounding into them. It also allows you to burrow and move through the ground and ceiling. So basically, if you can like touch the ceiling, you can drill into it, you can move across the ceiling, being able to like reach areas that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. And then if you're in like a tight spot with like, you know, a few enemies that you don't think you could avoid, you can burrow into the ground and then just move past them. While we're still on the topic of power-ups, we have the item balloon, which is kind of like a way to be able to store items that you collect throughout your journey. And you can use that at any time by pushing the A button, and it allows you to switch between power-ups. That's all it basically is. It's kind of like the item reserve for this game. Moving on to the Wonder Flower, it's a plant that grows in the Flower Kingdom, and the appearance of it seems to change based on the world you're in. So like maybe in World 1, it's like blue. I think in like World 2 it was like yellow. I think that's kind of cool that it has different colors. And it's said to thrive off the Flower Kingdom's mysterious power, and this was the power that Bowser was after at the beginning. When you interact with it, it will trigger a wonder effect in the course you are in, changing the world around you. Some examples of this could be like pipes moving, enemies stampeding around you, terrain shifting, perspective changing, like those 2D top-down Zeldas. I think that was like my favorite one. I think that one's gonna be really cool. And then like you can also have your character change into like a Goomba, a spike ball, or a balloon. So we got Tubular 2.0 back. So for all of you Super Mario World fans that absolutely hated that level, say hello to it again because it's back. Once you collect a Wonder Effects Wonder Seed, the world around you will return back to normal, so you don't have to worry about it staying like that if you go into there. And it seems like Wonder Seeds will be used to unlock certain levels that require a certain amount of them, and then there will be 2 Wonder Seeds per level, with the second one being rewarded at the end of levels as things from the Poplins, which are like the Toad-like characters of the Flower Kingdom. Moving on to probably the most interesting part of the direct, something that I don't think anyone kind of predicted, but in a way it kind of proves my predictions where I said, you know, what if we had upgradable power-ups? This could maybe kind of be that way of doing so. Instead of upgrading power-ups, you use badges that help make your power-ups stronger. But from what we know, badges will be unlocked as you progress through the game by doing badge challenges, or you can buy them at pop-up shops found around the world map with flower coins. So those purple coins we see, we finally know what their use is. It's to buy badges. Badges could be used to help you in gameplay, and there's multiple different types of badges that we saw. The ones that I was able to catch in the direct are the parachute cap, which allows you to open your hat in mid-air to slowly glide downwards. There's the wall climb jump, where if you jump up against a wall, you can get an additional jump straight up. And then there's the dolphin kick, which unleashes a brief burst of speed underwater. And you can also break underwater blocks with this. This is kind of similar to the penguin suit, where it kind of makes it easier to traverse underwater, and I really appreciate that they took the criticism that they got with underwater levels and made them more bearable in 2D Marios. There's the timed high jump, where if you time consecutive jumps, you would be able to jump higher. It also, I guess, works in sand, so I guess sand has like little mechanics where like you can jump as high, but with this badge, you'll be able to jump normally or higher. There's the crouching high jump, which you can crouch to charge up a jump that would be higher than usual. This is kind of similar to that ability in Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, I kind of noticed. There's kind of like a callback to that game, so that's kind of cool. There's the floating high jump that has you jump higher than usual, float for a short bit of time, kind of similar to Peach's ability in Super Mario Bros. 2 USA. And also Super Mario 3D World. There's the grappling vine, basically the Spider-Man ability of this game, where you can shoot vines in mid-air and stick to walls with grappling vines. I thought that was a pretty cool one. That could make for some very interesting level traversing. I am excited for that one. There's the safety bounce, which helps you recover from falling instantly. It's kind of similar to the Peachette power-up in Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, where if you are about to die or fall into a pit, it'll kind of like give you a little bit of a boost back up so that you don't fall right away. There's the sensor that helps you find important items, the coin magnet that attracts nearby coins, invisibility, which just makes you invisible to enemies and yourself. Basically a hard mode. I'm gonna guess this is like one of those ones that are like 999 coins, similar to that costume that's like 9,099 coins or something in Mario Odyssey. I think that would be kind of funny. There's the jet run, which makes you dash non-stop and allows you to run in mid-air for a short bit of time. There's coin reward, which you earn coins for defeating enemies. And then last but not least, the last one I was able to see was the auto super mushroom, which makes it so that you start a course with a super mushroom instead of as like small Mario if say you die. Now moving on to our final topic, we have multiplayer, starting with local co-op. You can play with 4 players locally. A new feature with this game is instead of just dying if a player is defeated, they will turn into a ghost for a short bit of time, and if another player reaches them before time runs out, they'll be revived without losing a life. I think this game is similar to like Super Mario 3D World where all of your lives are combined, so this is like very helpful for when you're playing together and you don't want to lose all your lives because you know you have that one player that just straight up sucks at the game. So making it so that you can revive them if they die, it makes it so that you don't lose all your lives right away. So that's kind of a nice change. That's all we really had when it comes to local co-op, but moving on to online. If you play online, you'll be able to see other players on the world map and courses, and see them in real time as live player shadows. I think that's kind of cool because you can kind of see what other players around the world are up to in the game. If you're defeated online though, you can be revived by bumping into one of the live player shadows. I think that's kind of cool as well. Obviously, if you're playing online, you're not around other players, but being able to just run into one of the live player shadows, I think that's kind of cool to be able to revive yourself. It's kind of like an easy mode for the game because based on like weeks or whatever, I guess this game is kind of like the next Super Mario Bros. 3 where it's a little bit of a harder game, and I'm honestly all for that. You could send greetings online and send other players items. You will not be playing with other players directly, so basically you can't toss each other off the stage, can't interact with them besides like greetings or reviving each other, or by using a standee, which is kind of like a new thing that if you place it down, players can bump into that and then revive themselves, and that will help raise your heart points, which is kind of like the new thing that shows other players how much you have helped other players by reviving ghosts, by gifting items, or by reaching the gold level together. But when you're online, you can also create friend rooms. So you'd think this is how you play with people online. This is how you play directly, normal multiplayer that's similar to like local co-op. Unfortunately, that is not the case because with the friend rooms, you're able to play with up to 12 players in a room, and you can like see which courses your friends are playing in. Now, you can play with up to 4 players in a single course, but you're not really playing it together. You can help each other out by giving each other items or, you know, by reviving each other, but you're not like directly in the same level. You're kind of like on your own, but like your friends also playing that level at the same time. And then there's also a race option where you can like race your friends and see who can get to the end of the course by hitting a race block. That's how you get into that option. But normal online multiplayer doesn't seem to be in this game, which is a shame because they showed that they were capable of it with Super Mario 3D World, and also even in Mario Maker after like fans complained that they couldn't play with friends online, they added that in to like a later update. So I'm thinking maybe with this game, if we complain about it enough, maybe Nintendo will add it, but who knows? This is Nintendo after all. This game though is looking to be really insane. I'm really excited for this game. It's nearly perfect, I feel, except for obviously Elf and Peach and Daisy and Toadette, and then the lack of like actual normal online play. I think that's kind of annoying. But with that being said, I would try to go to the Japanese website to see if there was more information, because usually the Japanese websites have a bit more information than the direct shows or the US website. But since I don't know Japanese and I'm kind of stuck to translating things, let's just say it doesn't really go well, because Mario isn't the only one that Bowser's up against. If you are able to translate the Japanese website and have more information that you can give, please leave a comment down below, because I would love to know more information if there was any extra information that's on that website. But with that being said, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet, consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel, as it helps out a ton. And if you want to see another video made by me, there's a video on screen now where you can see my game collection. I have over 100 games on there, so if there's any games that you want to see if I have, go check out that video. With that being said, I'm the biggest noob on YouTube, Chris signing off, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.